What's going on, everyone? My name's Matt. I'm here from the PT Profit Leverage and Lifestyle Show. I've got an amazing guest with me today, Mr. Lewis Huckstep. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. We've connected many times before over the last couple of years, and in some sense had a similar journey in the fitness industry, which I'm sure we'll dive into in a second. But thank you so much for joining me, my friend. How are you?
Mate, I'm really well, and yeah, like we're just speaking before camera, click record. Mate, a lot of similarities with our journeys. Been in the fitness space, PT to owning a gym to recently for yourself selling yours, and myself last year as well. So to now being on the online space as well. So coaching others. So man, it's been a really awesome journey, and mate, looking forward to chatting wherever this goes today. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Appreciate your time as always, mate. So yeah, as you said, we obviously we crossed paths probably almost 4, maybe 5 years ago now, where I was looking to get into the fitness industry back then. So I've been a PT now for about 4 years. So we'll get into how that happened. But I'm curious to know, for people that don't know you, can you give us a summary of what life has been like? Because I know you've been, I think, in the fitness industry from when you were about 18 years old, I think, from memory. I suppose how that came about, and I suppose going into the journey of what you're doing now.
Yeah, beautiful, man. So I got into the fitness industry when I was 18. So I had the life ambitions of being a high school teacher and a personal trainer in the holidays. Those were my life goals back when I was 17, 8 years old. So started to get into the fitness industry. I worked for free for 2.5 years because I applied at many gyms and they just all said no. So ended up working for free for 2.5 years. I did network marketing during that time, so that's how I paid my bills and lived. Ended up buying into that gym when I was 20 years old. I bought into that first gym. And then we opened up the second one when I was 21. So I got the keys to that on my 21st birthday. And then opened up a third one when I was 22, 23. But it just scaled really quickly, like very naive. They talk about when you start business, the uninformed optimist, where it's like, yeah, this will be fun. Let's just do it. So that was very much us, just like, yes, 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 go, go, go. Yes, man. Yes, man. Where there wasn't enough systems, processes, leadership, foundational stuff that could actually support those businesses. So it was very much key person risk. I was pretty much running sessions at one gym in the morning, running sessions in the afternoon at another, working all the way through, living off sort of 4 to 5 hours of sleep Monday to Sunday. And it was just a grind. It's just like such a blur of that period. It's just grind, grind, grind. And yeah, got that up to three gyms. We had a team of 15 at the peak, doing over $1 million across the three. And yeah, just hit the cracks just started to form. I ended up giving away one of my studios to my business partner at the time because we just didn't see eye to eye, conflicts with values and the way that we viewed leadership and business and life. And then the franchise I was part of started to shake and started to go under, started to go backwards quite quickly. So I ended up selling one of the second one back to the studio, back to the franchise a couple of years ago. And then I had my third one, which was the one that I owned myself. And I had hired myself out of the operations of the business. So I did 1 hour of work there with the leadership team once a week. And that was paying me sort of 2 to 3 thousand bucks a week. So I had retired myself out of the operations of the business. So then I could just do what I wanted every single day. And that ended up being what I'm doing now, which is my purpose, my passion, my love. It's coaching people mentally, emotionally, spiritually to find their purpose, to work through their limiting shit, their wounds, traumas, limitations, and yeah, build a life that they love. And this has been in sort of, I'm 18 when I started, currently 26. So about to turn 27. So it's been, yeah, sort of 8, 9 years doing all of that.
Awesome, mate. Yeah, obviously a lot of growth in such a short period of time. Although it was obviously over 8 years, but as you said, that quite a bit has happened. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I actually used to train at your gyms,
Which ones?
Coomera
Yeah,
and also Molondina.
yeah, yeah. I remember the Molly. I remember Molly. I remember seeing you down there. It was just man, such a blur that period for me. Just like I just can't remember. I can't believe I did it, dude. To be honest, I was like I get 8 hours of sleep every night these days. I'm like, fuck, how did I live off 4 hours? I don't know how I did it. But yeah, I do definitely remember seeing you having a chat from there to there because I think you were looking at opening up one at one point. Is that right?
Yeah, so I don't think I've actually shared this myself actually, but yeah, I was always back in that stage, I was always into, business. I did network marketing as well for a little bit. I tried drop shipping. I did FBA on Amazon, which is great, but I just didn't really click for me. And I had a bit of a journey with my own health and fitness. So I was like, yeah, why not? Like everyone has this lifestyle or dream of wanting to own their own gym. And I was like, yeah, let's see what we can do. So I, with a couple of different franchises, that's when I obviously met you. Um, then, obviously the perception was, you're absolutely crushing it, living the dream, had the best lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, obviously trained at your gym a few times, but yeah, I was going to buy into a franchise, but decided against it and decided to, just get into PT myself. And then, as you said before, you kind of just go with the flow. You just like, yeah, growth, 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 growth. Like I scaled my business, not owning gyms, but I had my own gym, but scaling to 6 locations. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to know kind of what you were feeling in those moments when you were scaling or hustling, I suppose, building the gyms. Because as you said, you can grow really fast. So, and that was kind of similar to what I experienced when I was growing my locations. But how do you well, I suppose looking back, do you think you had control during that time, or do you think it just everything was just like, yeah, let's do that, let's do that, let's do that, and it just kind of like, as you said, you had no foundations, there's no leadership, and then it all kind of fell.
Yeah. Definitely no. It's the short answer to your question. So we're just, like I said, very unformed optimism, which is important to get started, because it's like, if you actually, someone who's never been in business, if you were to tell them the reality of what they're going to go through from when they're going to get started, especially for the first sort of 5-10 years, as you're building your skill sets, learning, developing, and actually maturing as an entrepreneur or a business owner, it's like, if you were to tell the reality to someone who hasn't even got started yet, most people wouldn't even start, because it's like, fuck that. Why would I go through that? So we were very uninformed. We had great energy. Me and Scott, who was my business partner at the time, and we had great energy, and we were always optimistic. We wanted to help people. Co and Ray had a massive piece with our success, or again, like short-term success, where we just learned structure. Like, we learned about planning, we learned about executing, we learned about organizational charts, leadership, sales, marketing. It's like, we just, for the first like 3-4 years, it was just like off hype and excitement, which again can only get you so far. It's not a sustainable business. It's a self-employed job where it's like the business is reliant on you, which it was for me for a very, very, very long time. But yeah, mate, the short answer is like, no, we did not have, it felt like we probably did, but we were just naive to it at the time. But we had, as we started to learn more, especially through Kerwin, where we just learned around planning, like we had like no planning. We would just wake up every day and be like, what should I do today? Maybe some sales, maybe some marketing. Let's run a 6-week challenge. Let's paint the gym. Let's move location to a bigger one because the class is so big. Let's add some classes. Let's take out some classes. Let's do some nutrition like, we're just like randomly just like fucking throwing ideas against the wall, see what would stick. And then when we really got clear on, okay, where do we want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? What's the mission of the business? What's the purpose of the business? Then where do we want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? And then 3 years, 2 years, 12 months, quarter, month, week, and day, and actually breaking it down into actually actionable steps where you just literally chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away, which is honestly what success really takes. It's like, use fitness as an example. It's not like you got to do these insanely crazy, complex training movements or workouts every day. It's like, every day, just chip away at it. Eat your calories that you meant to eat the protein you meant to eat, train in a simple, fun, enjoyable way, drink some water, get some good sleep, and do that for a very long period of time. Like, that's kind of the transition I'm into now, where it's like, I wake up and my outcomes are pretty simple. Like today, I'm finishing some modules for a chapter, I'm writing my book, and I'm following up with my clients. That's literally what I'm doing today. But that's all part of a bigger plan that I'm chipping towards. So yeah, definitely, short version is definitely not in control back in the day.
Awesome. Love it. You spoke a fair bit about planning there. So one thing that, because I'm obviously helping a lot of face-to-face personal trainers at the moment. And I mean, to be fair, they don't get taught a whole lot about business or structure during
Yeah.
so a lot of that stuff they have to just learn as they go. When you say planning, I suppose in my experience, a lot of personal trainers don't plan at all.
Yep.
They just kind of, as you said, like, oh yeah, I might contact a few people to get some more clients, and I might do this today, or I might just do that.
Yep.
What does that do in terms of structure? I suppose, how does that change the focus when you have like a set plan, or as you said, like a higher purpose that you're following? What does that kind of do?
Yeah, kind of two things in that, just because you mentioned the word purpose towards the end of that. So the structure just gives you clarity. It gives you, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm getting there. And if it's all based on purpose, mission, vision, what it is that you want, like I learned this from Cohen. I think he got it from Jocko Willink, but structure and discipline equals freedom. So if you do want freedom, which most people get into business to get, and then most people get into business and work more and earn less, and they lose their freedom. So if you want freedom, it requires systems, it requires structure, it requires discipline to actually follow said systems. And then long term, you hire, delegate, automate, and like get yourself out of the roles you don't necessarily want to do. But yeah, we will, like I said, we'll just wake up and randomly, like intuitively, oh, let's just do this today. But there was like just there's no structure there. So now having structure, and I'm like super structured now, it's like I'm earning the most amount of money and working, having the most amount of freedom I've ever had in my business. Like I'm today, like I said, I just jumped off another podcast before this one. I've got a sales call after this. I'm going down to see my mum this afternoon. Like my days are so chilled, and I'm making the most amount of money I've ever made, compared to even at the gyms. And it just gives you a level of certainty and ease. It's like when I used to go to sleep at night, I'm like, fuck, what do I need to do tomorrow? Do I need to get leads? Do I need to do this marketing thing? Have I got enough money to pay payroll? Can I afford rent? Can I afford my food? Like, it's like you're just like so scattered versus like, here we go. I heard a good analogy actually. So say you've got a certain amount of electricity or energy or focus and time and resources, and picture like a board, like a door with all these lights on them, and you have to use that limited amount of resources or electricity to light up all those lights. They would all be lit very, very dimly, versus you put all of that energy and focus into a laser pointer. That's how you can get then cut through really, 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 really quickly. Because most people fill their day with meaningless shit, as in shit that doesn't actually move things forward, that are not money producing activities, depending where you're at with your obviously business journey and where you're at. But most people waste their time. They say, I'm so busy, I'm working so hard. It's like, show me your calendar, show me the outcomes, show me the plan, and show me how effective you've been. And I'm not perfect either, by the way. I get distracted too. But just having, I was thinking about this today actually, because I was just downstairs with the dogs and just sort of chilling out. And I was like, I swear, like, because I had a friend of mine talk to me that today is like, how's business? I'm like, it's actually really good. Like, I'm making really good money. I'm actually not working that hard. Like, I think I did 33K last week in profit. I'm like, I'm not working that hard. It's like, what am I doing? It's like, because I don't feel like I'm hustling that hard compared to what I used to at the gyms, where literally living off like fuck or sleep. It's like, well, what am I doing? I'm like, interesting. An analogy that sort of came to me like literally a couple of hours ago. It's like, pretend like there's a nail that like the nail is the only thing that matters. And if you just hit that nail, you're going to be moving the right direction and you're actually going to make progress. Most people spend all their time doing everything else but hit the fucking nail. They're like painting the walls, they're measuring shit, they're distracting themselves, they're measuring stuff, like doing all this shit. It's like, just hit the fucking nail. It's like, I see that's what I do. I just wake up and I know, based on my plan, based on my priorities, based on my mission, based on my purpose, based on all my outcomes, the things I need to chip away at. And that's like, that's what I'm going to do. You probably heard of the 80-20 rule, Pareto's law. 20% of your inputs give you 80% of your outputs. So if you can actually just get clear on, okay, well, what's the 20%? What activities are going to give me the most amount of leverage for me to move towards the goals that I have? That it just made it, like I said, just gives you freedom. It gives you the ability to put one in and get 10 out versus put 10 in and get one out, which is what I used to be. It's like your leverage goes out, your output goes out. You can, like, I can get so much work done in a day. Like for people that watch me on Instagram, I do huddles on my Instagram and I'll do things like I'll say what I did and what I didn't do. And some people say, fuck, bro, you hustle so hard. I'm like, not really. Like I stopped working at 5 today. I played Mario Kart at lunchtime with my partner. Like I just know what I need to do and I just fucking do it. And so you can just get more output, more efficiency, more time, more freedom, more structure. It's yeah, it sounds so lame because I heard it my year 8 coordinator through high school, every assembly. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And as high school kids, you're like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm over this. This is bullshit. Like, whatever. But it's so true. It is so true. So I know PTs, or most people in general, don't like structure because they think structure takes away freedom. But this is it. And I did a training for my Reiki teacher that I'm working with as a client. She asked me to come do a training for her clients, and I'm like, these are going to be like the most spiritual, intuitive fucking people on the planet, right? It's like a hub of spiritual like pixie dust people. And I'm like, these people are going to probably have no fucking structure of their life. And I asked them, and they didn't. And I said, oh guys, because I know you're super spiritual, and I know you like to like flow with the universe and all that stuff. I said, but if you want that, because you need structure to have success, to have freedom, to have results, and all that stuff. But if you don't want to take away all your freedom, just structure in time where nothing can happen. So literally tomorrow, it's Friday. It's a public holiday for us, where we are in Aussie. I'm going to work anyways, but I just booked in a whole day when no one can book in. So it's like this podcast we're doing today, you couldn't have booked in tomorrow because I booked it out. And what outcomes am I going to do tomorrow? I don't know. I'll figure out once I get there. It's like I structure in freedom, structure in creativity, structure in time. Like I'm writing that book at the moment. Like I structure in time for me to just write a book. It's like I just give myself the freedom through structure to do the things that I actually enjoy as well.
Yeah. Well, it sounds and looks like you've got a lot more control over your time,
100%. 100%.
which, obviously it's one of the biggest things people get into business for. Um, I know you're obviously massive on purpose, and I've done some of your stuff on purpose as well. Is that kind of where to start? Like if someone is, a bit scattered, is that where you need to start if they're lost in the process?
In the flow from top to bottom, yes, purpose is first because purpose is kind of the biggest chunk you can get to. What's your purpose in life? I actually did that podcast before, and I actually took her through my purpose process. It's actually refined since you would have gone through it a couple of years ago, or about a year or so ago. So purpose, yes, is the guiding light. It's the Northern Star. I start with values first, as you're aware of that. So like I've got the book here, The Values Factor. So if you guys want to go read a book, The Values Factor, Dr. John D. Martini, or you can do it through me because I use spreadsheets and shit to make it easier. But values first, and the reason I do that is because values, to determine them, is a process. There's a structure to actually determine them. Because I remember I shared the story quite frequently. Kerwin Ray, incredible human being. I actually told you guys, I just mentioned him before. Changed my life, incredible mentor. However, when we sat down, it was like we're learning the master planning process, and he does purpose and all this stuff too. And you sit down, no context, no framing, no teaching. It's literally on the paper, what's your purpose in life? I'm like, how the fuck do you answer that question? Like like, where do you start? Like for most people listening, if you've never been asked the question, it's going to be pretty hard to answer that. Like, oh, to like help people and yeah, grow or whatever. Like it'd be super, super broad and off topic. So I use values first because they come from your voids, and there's a system, a set of questions you can ask to then clarify them, categorize them, and express them. And then your purpose is an expression of your biggest core wound, which is your biggest void. So my highest value is coaching. So my coaching, and the way that I view it, from my view, that I perceive it and live it through my core wound, is my dad wasn't the dad I wanted. So he wasn't the coach or the mentor or the father figure that I needed, because I was Asperger's, autistic, ADHD, struggled with my emotions, cried a lot as a kid, just really struggled like fucking living life. And he wasn't the father that I needed. Sorry if you can hear the dogs bark in the background. Sorry, sorry, boys. So yeah, so coaching is my biggest, the lack of the father figure that I wanted back then was my biggest core wound. So my purpose is an expression of what that is. So I do values first, just because there's a system to figure them out. Then I do purpose. And then from purpose, we do mission. And mission is a goal. That's where, like, people say, what's the mission of the business or what's the mission for your life? It's just a measurable goal, something you can actually say, hey, here's the goal. It's measurable. Then we can break it down, because you can't measure it, can't manage it. And then you break that down into 3-year goals, 2-year goals, 12 months, quarter, month, week, and day. And then again, you just keep chipping away, just chip away, chip away, chip away at the high priority action items for you to move towards it.
Simple. Yeah, I remember, and we can go into a bit more about purpose because, and values as well. Sorry. How often? I remember, I think from your training that I consumed last time. Would you suggest, I think it was every 3 months?
100%. Yep. I'm literally, we're at the end of the quarter right now. So I'm about to redo mine next weekend. So 100%. When you first do them, I say once a week for a month, then once a month for 6 months, and then every 3 months. Because it's why businesses do quarterly plannings. 3 months is a good amount of time for you to take action, to learn, to evolve, for industries to start to shift, for trends to start to show up. So 3 months is a really good time to just to sit back in. I'm literally doing it next week. I recommend at least minimum half a day, whether it's a Friday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, minimum half a day, ideally a full day, ideally a fucking weekend if you can, but obviously not everyone can do that. And if you can take it next level, go away from home, go get an Airbnb, travel, just get away from like the mundane sort of routine and shit, just to get away and remove yourself from the environment. But yeah, we go. So me and my partner will be doing this next week. We'll go back through our values, go back through our purpose, our mission, our vision, and just refine it and make sure it's still true and what lights us up and what drives us. And then we go back through our plan. So refine the plan, change the plan, adapt the plan based on our awareness, based on our new skill sets, based on the industry, based on whatever's happening. So every 3 months is what I recommend.
Awesome. Let's dive into relationships then, because you just touched on that a little bit. So here's something I've experienced recently. So I redid my so I just did my planning day for my business yesterday.
Love it.
And redid my purpose, values, etc. And I was like, I went to my wife Jess, and I was like, here's my updated values and my updated purpose, so you know where I'm at.
Yeah.
So we can be aligned. And I was like, well, I've never been able to get her to do her values and purpose. I understand.
Yep.
So how would you bring, like, this is just for me, I'm being selfish just asking you, but
No, perfect, man.
how would you start that conversation?
Obviously contextually, to the person. So how I would bring it up is like along the lines of just getting them to see how it's going to benefit both of you guys. Because when you know someone's values, when you know your own, you can be the best version of you, prioritize yourself, fill up your own cup so you can fill up others. And then if you know your partners, you can be a better partner for them. So I would probably take the angle how this is actually going to help me be a better partner for you. So like for my partner as an example. So I can't remember how I worded it back then, but it was along the lines of, "Hey, hun, I've just really gone this process. I've learned all this stuff. It's completely changed my life. So I can be a better human and a better partner, a better husband, whatever, for you. So I can respect you better, communicate to you better, buy you better gifts." I would probably lean into what you think her values are because you'll probably have a rough idea what they are, anyways. And then I would just get her to see how I want to be able to be a better partner for you, and you can be a better partner back to me by us actually understanding, valuing, and appreciating, giving each other space to prioritize each other's values. So that's probably the angle I would go with in that sort of situation you just said then. But for relationships in general, it's like one of the most powerful things you can get is know your own and know your partners, because you can give them space. Georgia's highest values training. She's at the gym all the time, like loves gym, all that stuff. But if I was to like project my values onto her and get her to live in my values, she would resent me. She would have negative energy towards me, frustration, stress, whatever. And then energetically that shows up, and then that becomes a block, and it'll show up in the bedroom, it'll show up intellectually, intimately, all the above. Where now, like I'm working right now, I work a lot. Coaching is my highest value. I do a lot of coaching. Where it's like I'm in my office right now, and if she needs something urgently, she knows to call my phone. And if it's not urgent, I'll let her know, babe, that's probably not an urgent one. But it's like she knows when that door's shut right now, I'm in my zone. This is for me to prioritize myself. And then if she wants to catch up and do something, obviously we schedule in time for our relationship. But she just gives me space. She doesn't make me feel guilty for prioritizing my values. I don't make her feel guilty for prioritizing hers. Because when you don't prioritize your own, you're being the best version of your limited self, which is that quote that you've got to fill up your cup before you fill up others. That's how you actually do it. Know your values, schedule them in, prioritize them. When you're in a relationship, get your partner to do the same thing, and then communicate with what each other's are, so you can look after each other more. So if you want to get your partner gifts, it was pretty cool. We did this at Christmas, and I didn't organize this. It was actually my partner. She did this. So we've got like kind of a group of like couples. Like there's like 3 couples together in this group chat. And what we did, or what each couple did, is we went and bought a gift for each value. So the top 3. So like Georgia got one for me for coaching. So she bought me an iPad, which is behind me, which is like you can write on it and like coach on it. And for my business, learning was the second one. So she bought me some books that were in my values that I want to learn from, and relationships. So she got us some things to go do as an experience together as relationships, so she can buy me better gifts. So I would, for your partner, just get her to see how you're going to treat her better, be a better partner, buy her better gifts, love her more, respect her more, and it's more so for her, and then vice versa coming back to you. That's how I would probably tackle it.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Thanks for doing that. It was
Very welcome.
a selfish question, but yeah.
Right. That's why most of my guests, man, is for me to get some coaching out of it, right?
Yeah. It sounds like obviously you brought up structure again for your relationship as well. So it sounds like obviously structure, common theme to for how you're having so much success with your transition now. What were some of the because it's obviously a massive change for what you've been doing, like 3 gyms, brick and mortar gyms, and now fully online business. Yeah, helping people with mindset and stuff. You want to give us a bit of a insight on some of the stuff that you have learned from transitioning from, well, I suppose a different industry, I guess.
Yep. Fuck. The biggest takeaway, I don't want to take away from PTs though, so I don't want to like poo-poo on what PTs are doing. It depends on their plan long term, because PT and like gyms, as you experience, such a great stepping stone. So I sold my studio to a good friend, Mason, that I think you're aware of who he is. And I told him, I said, hey, bro, up front, this is not a good business model long term. Like long term, if you want ultimate scale, ultimate freedom, ultimate whatever, this is probably not the best business model for you, to be real, unless you're going to go franchise. Sorry if you can hear the dogs in the background. My partner's going to go look after them, hopefully. Thank you, baby. So, but it's such a great stepping stone because you can learn the fundamentals of business in a way that can allow you then transition into other things depending where your path takes you. So, but 3 things for any business: make it simple, make it fun, make it highly profitable. So that's why PT being a service is fantastic. Because if you don't know how to market online, you don't know how to communicate, don't know how to sell, because it's easier to sell in person. If I had someone in person in front of me, so much easier to sell than online through VSLs and emails and all that stuff. So if it's easier to do it online, but there's obviously more costs, because you got rent, you got overheads, and you got all this shit. So simple, fun, highly profitable. I've really enjoyed transitioning. Like one of my studios per studio, it was about $6,000 per week in overheads. So I had 3 of the fuckers. So I had to make 6, 12, 18. I had to make $18,000 to break even across 3. And then I've got you got like employees, you got work covers, you got insurances, you've got fair work things you have to abide and understand, which I had no fucking clue because I hadn't studied business. Yeah, it was challenging. And then if an employee leaves, you got to go replace them. Again, if you scale it well enough, you run it better than what I did. You can do it in a great way. Like, look, there's people that own multi-franchises and do very, very well. A friend of mine, and he was a mentor of mine, he owned 5 at one point, and he was completely out of all of them, and they were all profitable, and he was doing very well. I just wasn't good enough to get to that point, right? But yeah, online, I love it. It's infinitely scalable because you're going to help anyone. I've got clients from the US, from South Africa, from New Zealand, from the UK, from Ireland. I've got like all around the world, which is really cool. You can help them 24/7, 365. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I don't see myself ever changing until AI really takes over the world. I don't see myself transitioning too majorly in the near future, but yeah, I'm loving. I've got a subscription offer, which is that conscious community, and then I've got my high ticket one-on-ones, and that balance is so nice. Like I said, I've got a sales call straight after this. Say she purchases, that's above $10,000, and then I've got my reoccurring revenue off the back end of it for my people that don't have that type of money or who just want to try me a bit more before they commit to something bigger. And then you've got that reoccurring revenue. So then whether you make any one-on-one sales, you're still eating food, you're still putting money away, you're still profitable. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this model. Big fan. If I was a PT, I would be incorporating what you're doing because PT is such a great skill set to then take online. That's where I'd be looking at.
Yeah. Speaking of the offer that you're using at the moment, so I've been utilizing Lewis Mocker a little bit as well with his 4-product empire. Is that kind of how you're suggesting? So like you have like a free offer, subscription, and a high ticket or a core offer, I guess?
Yep. Yeah, but I was literally I had a coaching client this morning and we are literally going through the same thing. So I've modeled that. I've changed some things to it and refined it a little bit. But essentially what you're talking about, the 4-product empire. So intro offers, so many offers. So whether it's an ebook, a report, I do masterclasses. That's kind of my main one at the moment. Podcast can be one, like this podcast right now, because someone might listen to this and say, fuck, Matt's a fucking legend. Or Lewis is a fucking legend. I'm going to go dive into their stuff. Oh my God, they've got this, you got this. So this can be an intro offer at some level.
Yeah.
But then core offer. I don't have core offer anymore. I used to. That was my old model last year. So I was doing that for about 12 months and did really well. I was making about 40K a month doing that. I didn't like the lack of reoccurring revenue. And I didn't like, it was more so the deliverability rather than the price, it was not getting consumed to the level that I wanted to. So I was selling, like, for people that are in the space, I was selling a high ticket evergreen program where it's like through Teachable. I think it's the one that it was through Teachable where you were when I was doing it back then. But it was sell it for $5,000. They get lifetime access to it, and they just go through it at their own pace. The consumption of that was fucking low. Like, I was having very, very little people actually go through that. So I didn't like that. I was making good money, but I was like, I'm not having the impact I want. And I wanted to have the impact. And long term, if I kept doing that, that's just not a good brand to build, right? Like, people paying big money and getting nothing from it because they're not actually consuming it. Obviously, I had some people that went through it and loved it and got heaps of value from it, but the percentage was like less than 10%. So I then changed to the subscription model. So now I have many intro offers, which is my ebooks, my master classes, my podcast, my content, and I think that's it for now. The book will be, once I finish the book, that will be one of them. Then I don't have a core anymore. I have high ticket, which is one-on-one, and high ticket above 10,000. And then I have a subscription offer, which is my conscious community, which is about $70 a month. So that's where the reason I like those two is it caters to pretty much the whole marketplace, because your premium clients that want the attention, the intimacy, and have the budget for it, that you can do that, and it's high. You get a lot of profit out of that. And then the subscription caters for people that don't have the big budget, who are a bit skeptical and they're not sure who the fuck you are, and they're not willing to invest $10,000 into you yet. And it gives you the recurring revenue. So I like that. And it's easier to scale because if you do a core product, depending how you do it, the way you sell has to get increased. You have to do sales calls. I don't want to do a lot of sales calls. I do like literally one a week. I happen to have one today, but last week I had two, the week before I had zero, the week before I had zero. So I do very little sales calls these days. Where when I was doing the 40K plus months, I was doing about 20 to 30 sales calls a week. And I was like, fuck. And yes, you could hire salespeople to do that for you, but then commissions, complexity, it's not as simple. I want to keep it simple. I want to have like a one-man empire where it's like, I've got a VA, I do have a virtual assistant who does a lot of things for me, but like, I don't want to have a team of salespeople and all that stuff. I just want to have an epic product that changes fucking lives. I've got a way to deliver it, which is super seamless. I use School, and I know you use School as well to do that. And then I have my premium intimate clients that I work with. I think long term, I might have a core product. I'm thinking of doing like retreats and stuff like that, but I'm going to do that more so from I enjoy that and that's fun. I just don't want to build a business around it. I don't want to be, I'll use Kerwin as an example because I saw Kerwin, I saw Tony Robbins, I saw all these people running like the event model where it's like one event to the next event to the next event to the next event. And that's cool. But what if they get sick? What if you get injured? What if you want to fucking stop, right? Like, and Kerwin, perfect example, he had a stroke 2 years ago. He was out for 12 months. His whole business stopped. So I didn't want to have a business that was reliant on me having to get on stage and stuff like that. So this is where the online, I work from home. I'm a homebody, so I'm at home literally most days. And I'm building a business model where I do one call a fortnight, and I have some message support, and I refine my teachings, which I like doing. I like doing that. And then I have my one-on-ones, which are just super intimate and high ticket. I really like that model. So for anyone that's want to lean down that's I'm really enjoying that at the moment.
Yeah. If we bring it back to, I suppose, because most of the audience that tunes into my content is more face-to-face PT, so they literally have to be at an appointment for this service.
Yep.
Is there a way, and I'm probably more, doing this type of stuff at the moment where I'm more focused on the lifestyle. Like I'm in a similar position to you. I'm making pretty much the same what I was making when I had the gym, but I don't have the overheads anymore. But now I've got the lifestyle. Like for me, like I've had three back-to-back Zoom calls, which is great. I like doing coaching, same as you. That's my highest value. But I've got a lot of spare time, which is really good. So I spend a lot of time with my family. So I've got obviously a young daughter now, and another one on the way. Congratulations as well on your news about the engagement.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Do that yet. But yeah, for face-to-face trainers, is there a way without going online? And this is just like a random question. Is there a way you think that face-to-face trainers can still have a leveraged model?
The answer is yes. Without going online though, maybe not. The only way is just you have to go super premium. You just got to pay a fortune. You just got to charge big money. And you can do that. Like you could be a celebrity trainer or like a corporate business owner. You're just gonna have to target the top 1% of people of income earners, which is possible. Like there are celebrity trainers out there where they'll pay you 100 grand plus for like their PT, their services, their nutrition, everything. So I think the only way, just without any component of online, meaning it's all in person, it's all on you, unless you get trainers underneath you and you do that model. That's the way you can do that as well. Again, more complexity to that. There's more people you got to deal with. You're gonna lose a lot of the profit to paying them commissions and blah blah blah. So for me, if you want the lifestyle and you just want to do face to face because you fucking love it, and you want to make big money and not have to work 40 sessions a week or whatever they're doing, is just ramp your costs up. Like do 6 week challenges, maybe do them in groups, 8 week challenges in groups, have them like high ticket where it's like you add more value than just training. You bring in mindset, you bring in wellness, you bring in nutrition, you bring in gut health, you bring in all this stuff and just charge high ticket, have payment plan options, then get trainers underneath you. You can go that model. I would do the hybrid. Like I know it's not your question because you said purely in person. I would do in person, high ticket. So I was working with a client a while ago, and we were building this out for her. And we got to a point where we finished working together, and we like built out like sort of 70-80% of it, where she is an in-person trainer slash physio, and she loves in person. She loves the people. She wants to keep those, but she wants to obviously scale her income and have more impact. So she's pretty much doing the hybrid where in person is high ticket, one-on-one or small groups. And then she builds like a scalable sort of subscription option or maybe a core option where it's like, hey, look, it's $5,000 for in person with me for 3 months or whatever it may be. Or I have a $2,000 option, which is online and you go through it yourself and I can support you and check in with you or something like that. Or I have a $100 a month option where you get the same content, but you just keep paying to stick around and you want to have something. If you do a subscription, the only thing is you need to make sure you have something that keeps them retained. So whether that's community, whether that's fortnightly, monthly calls, whether it's challenges, whether you're adding more content into it, you have to have something to obviously retain them long term. So yeah, they're all the models I would personally be looking at.
Well, let's talk about your book. It's very exciting. So do you want to run us through what that's going to look like, and also when it's going to be finished?
Yeah, beautiful, man. Yeah, really excited. So never written a book before, so it's been fun. I've been talking about it for years, and then I did an exercise with a mentor that I'm working with at the moment, and it was an exercise like, you've got 6 months to live. What are you going to do? What's the first thing you do? And the first thing I wrote there was finish my book. So that was like the sort of initiation to pull my finger out if I can do it. So I started actually sit down and write the fucking thing about a month and a half ago. I've been thinking about it for about like fucking 3 years, and I knew what was going into it. So I'm pretty sure the name's going to be the Inspired Life Method. Haven't felt any other name come through for me just yet. Essentially, it's my work in a book. So it's pretty much everything I'm talking about, how to find your purpose. So there's 3 pillars that I have: self-mastery, inner work, and skills and strategy. Self-mastery is knowing your values, knowing your purpose, knowing your life's mission and vision. Who are you authentically without the mask and the personas? What actually lights you up and inspires you? And then what do you want to do with it? What's your mission and vision for your future? Then we do inner work, which is, we do in the book. I teach it differently depending how I'm teaching it. In the book, I'm going to do planning after that. So that's where, okay, we've got your vision. How much money do you need to live? How much do you need to actually earn for you to live that vision? Is it $1,000 a week, $10,000 a week, $100,000 a week? Doesn't matter. Anything's possible. There's kids earning millions of dollars a week, literally off fucking YouTube. It's possible to earn it. If you guys want to feel shit about yourself, Google Ryan's Toys income. It's this like 12-year-old kid earning like 50 million bucks a year. It's insane. So, and that's US as well. Anyways, so self-mastery, values, purpose, mission, vision. Then we go through planning. So we take your vision. How much do you need to earn? Let's get tactical. How much money do you actually need to earn for you to live that lifestyle? From the house, the car, the personal chef, the personal masseuse, the travel, the whatever. Then we get clear on that number. What vehicle are you going to do? And I don't go too deep into that because that gets more into the nuts and bolts of like business and sales and marketing. So I don't do that in the book. It's just what vehicle are you going to do? I talk about a purpose-led business or a business which is just purely to make income and just give you freedom, which is okay as well. Or it's just to honestly work a career which is aligned with your purpose because not everyone's willing to put the work in for a business. Then we go into planning. So we plan it all out. So from the 10-year mission to 3 years, 2 years, 12 months, quarter, month, week, and day, which I mentioned before. And then we get into the inner work. So I teach what inner work is. What is inner work? What is healing? What are traumas? What are wounds? Why is it important to work through them? Because your unhealed wounds are the invisible puppet master controlling your decisions and thoughts without you even being aware of them. That's where you self-sabotage. It's where you hit a glass ceiling. It's where you procrastinate. It's where you hesitate. It's where you just don't, you know what to do. You're not doing what you know. And it's all of that shit that you want to clear out. So I teach what inner work is, and then in the book we're doing two tools. So there's two. One is my own tool. So it's like a culmination of like 5 different tools put into one. I call it ego dissolving. So that's the tool we go through. And then the second one is going through the DeMartini process. So I'm a DeMartini facilitator, and we're going through how to. So his method: any trauma that you're aware of, so you have a perception of it. Your dad hurt you, your mum did this, you were abused, you were assaulted, you were abandoned, you were hurt, you were whatever, you were fucked over. Anything that you have a perception on and you are aware of it, the DeMartini method will get rid of it. It's so powerful. That's why it's my favorite mental tool to use. So then I'll run you through 2 tools, actually teach it to you, and they'll take you through the process so you can actually start to clear out the shit. And that's the book. So self-mastery, planning with the vehicle and dream day and income needed, and then some inner work to finish it off. That's the book, mate.
Amazing. Tremendous value as always.
Thank you, sir.
I wanted, no doubt people are going to get tremendous value from this. So if people want to find out about your conscious community, or even just follow you on socials, what's the best way to get in contact with you or follow your story?
Thank you, man. Man, thank you again for your time. It's been a really awesome conversation. Good to connect with you again properly. Instagram's probably the best. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all the above. I've got a website, lewishuckstep.com, but you just go Lewis Huckstep. It's pretty much the same name across every platform. I've got a YouTube channel as well where my podcast is. And yeah, it's if you go to my link, which is in my profile, my community is there. Or if you go lewishuckstep.com/community, it will be there as well. So I'm sure if you just find my name, you'll be able to find it somewhere.
Awesome. Thank you again, Lewis, for your time as always. Got a stack load of value from you as always as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing the progress of the book.
Thank you, bro.
And inspiring journey that you've been on the last couple of years. Like obviously I've been seeing the journey unfold. It's been really inspiring to see, living your full purpose. Actually, one last question, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, for sure.
With because my values have changed over time, and I'm sure yours has as well. But I just wanted to get your perspective. Like, if people do have a shift in values, is that completely fine? Because I think a lot of people they feel like they have to stay in a certain industry or they have to do a certain thing for such a long period of time. Like, is it completely fine for values to change or purpose to change?
Short answer is yes. You won't have like a 180 though. You won't go from like, I value relationships to I hate relationships. You won't do like a full 180, but they will, like, the sort of order can change. So you go through life filling your own voids. So as you fill one void, the next void or the next value becomes more important to you. So like wealth was my, I think, 3rd value at one point, and now it's like down to 6 or 7. So like it's still there, it's just not as prominent. Your biggest core wounds, I'm yet to find anyone. I haven't worked with anyone for like years on end to know this for certain, for my own experience anyways. My biggest core wound and my highest value have stayed the same. So like my coaching, it used to be called teaching, but I just reworded it to coaching. That hasn't changed, and I've been doing mine for about 5 years. So, but I haven't been tracking people's for like 5 plus 10 years to give you a definite answer on that. So my intuition tells me that your core wound doesn't change. Your core wound will always be your core wound, and therefore your highest value will always be your highest value. Now they do change over time as you fill your voids, but my highest one hasn't changed. My 2, 3, 4, and below, all of them have changed orders from time to time, but my highest value hasn't changed. If it was to change, then you might want to look at, okay, well, maybe you've filled that void and it's no longer as important to you, and maybe it's time to take a shift. But that doesn't happen like from one quarter to the next year. Like that might be over like a 5-10 year period. So like say 10, 20 years from now, my biggest void has been filled. I'm coaching to the degree and expression that I want to, and it's now something else. It might change to say being a parent. Awesome. My vocation and what I do business wise might stay the same. I just put more energy and effort into being a parent at that stage. So don't feel like, okay, my values have changed, I need to change my business model or anything like that. It can. But yeah, you're not going to have like these huge 180s 1 year to the next. It'll be just slight shifts. And then over time, you're like, hang on, I just don't value coaching at all. And I've built a whole coaching business. What is it that I want to do? And maybe it's time to change. But again, they're like, you're playing with decades. So it's not like, okay, this year I'm doing this. Okay, it's changed this year. I'm going to do this. It's not going to be like that.
Awesome. Appreciate it, my friends. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, again, for the people tuning in, if you got value from this episode, make sure you give Lewis a follow.
Thank you, bro.
He provides some excellent content, as you would expect from this conversation.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Nice.